Okay, trying this again for the third time. So let me stop the music here. And well, the music is no longer playing, so boop. Alrighty then. Well, as I noted earlier, this is my third attempt for the night. If this doesn't work, then I will defer over to Satanga. But in any case, I have tried and attempted to stream the death and return of Superman 3 times now. Or, well, this is the third time. 2 times prior. And each time the game just kind of pooped, or not the game, the stream just pooped itself. I'm not entirely sure why. But whatever the case, I'm here now. We'll see if it works. I have the bare minimum open. So hopefully everything works out here. But in any case, yes, you're in here for another one of these. Another rental rodeo, rather. And, well, what is that exactly? Well, let's pop up the rules. I pick a game I rented as a child. I then proceed to play it for 1 hour. I keep it old school during that time, so no save states, fast forwards, or rewinds. So you get an experience roughly similar to what it might have been like to rent it. And then finally, after I'm done, I give my final thoughts. Although, spoilers, typically I kind of spill my guts on my feelings for the game over the course of it. I'm starting to wonder if the stream might have failed as a result of the game somehow. I don't know how, or the emulator, but it seemed to always crash at a consistent point, or the stream always seemed to die at a consistent point, notably after the game got through its demo. So, well, you already know the rules, so boop, we'll get the game started. So instead of showing the demos for the game like I normally would, I'm just going to start playing the game and see what happens from there. Which is a shame, because I feel like the demos are part of the retro gaming experience. There's something that older games do that modern ones don't do as much. Alright, so good. The game started up. It is indeed a Sunsoft game around the era of the Acrobat era. And yeah, Blizzard Entertainment worked on this one of their earlier titles. Not sure if this was before Warcraft 2 or Warcraft. Might have been around the same time. It was certainly around the same time as Blackthorn and the Lost Vikings, which are also good games. So I'm going to take a look at the options here first. Well, not a lot of options here, but hey, it's a 6-button game, which is good because I have a 6-button USB Genesis pad in my hands right now, so I'll just go with those defaults. They look fine to me. And well, let's get the game started. So yes, as you may have noticed, this is called The Death and Return of Superman, and it is indeed based on the comic event of the same name, where, well, Superman gets his butt kicked so hard he dies, courtesy of our good pal Doomsday, who was introduced as part of this story arc. Pretty cool looking character, and one of the more interesting Batman, or not Batman, excuse me. Batman has his kind of his own version of Doomsday, but I digress. It's a pretty interesting Superman villain, looks pretty cool. And, you know, they really haven't had to mess with his design at all, or update it. Ah, yes, that generic explosion sound. I love that. You know, despite being a fan of superheroes, I don't read a lot of superhero comics. But anyway, I'm going to play this a little bit the wrong way first. Not play it properly. Okay, no items up there. So yes, this is a beat 'em up. The controls are as follows: you can jump, you can punch, you can charge up your laser eyes, which are only used to stun enemies mostly. I think in some other stages you actually shoot with them in the shmup-like stages. You can also fly if you tap double jump. You just hit jump again in air to land, and then yeah. So I'll keep playing it wrong here a little bit. See, there's a way to play this game, and it's not like a traditional beat 'em up. That's just a good way to get yourself killed. Oh yeah, you have jump attacks, obviously. No, what you're supposed to actually do is stun enemies with your laser beam, and then just throw them in the background. Or just throw them, period. As you can see, because I played the game the wrong way, I'm already close to death. But yes, throwing is the name of the game here, and I actually really like that. There's another there's an arcade beat 'em up by the name of, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. 64th Street, A Detective Story. And that game has a very similar mechanic with the throws. Like, the throws in that game are so satisfying because you can just throw dudes into the background. Sometimes it spawns items and power-ups for you, much like in this game. And yeah, that's basically the name of the game. There are a lot of hidden items in the stages. Although not always. Sometimes it's just fun to, you know, make a mess of stuff. And I'm almost about to die. This game does not hold any punches back. Despite being Superman, he's actually kind of weak. As I was actually mentioning, hey Bob and Air, by the way, as I was mentioning before you got in here, you're supposed to stun enemies with it and then grab them so you can throw them. That's all it's for. And you actually have 4 directions for throws here. Down is like, you just basically wail on the enemy. Left and right, you know, basically throw the enemies in whatever direction you're facing. In this case, it's kind of a shoulder toss, and if it's in the front, he just chucks them. And then you can also throw them in the background, which will often reveal items and such. There's also a lot of items and hidden stuff if you fly as well. Oh crap, oh, good. Oh, whoops, I just destroyed that. I could have used that, but I wasn't thinking. But yes, normal attacks are not your friend in this game. Ow. Oh, I forgot to note something here at the start of this stream. Satanga actually suggested this. It's kind of payback as well for suggesting that he play roller games on the NES. He did not have a good time with that one, so I figured I'd pick a more mediocre game that I rented as sort of penance for that. I actually quite like it. I think it looks nice. I like the music in the Genesis version a little bit more. Controls are pretty snappy. It's not a bad game overall. It's just not exceptional, and well, you don't really feel superpowered. You should really feel superpowered as Superman. You should really feel very strong. And yep, we already have an elevator stage here as, you know, like the second half of the first level. Now, I don't know if Superman has any other moves, like if he has a... I know he has a crowd clear move if you hit Y, in this case, since I am using a 6-button pad. And you only have so many of those, as you can see in the top corner. They basically work similarly to the police car in our good pal and friend Streets of Rage, except you can use them a little bit more often. But yes, I'm going to be throwing a lot in this because that is actually how you're supposed to play this game. If you just try to normally throw, if you try to just treat enemies, or if you try to play this like a traditional beat 'em up and just wail on them with your fists, you'll get the crap beat out of you most of the time. Jump attacks are pretty good though too. Oops. But yeah, despite, you know, liking superheroes and renting a bunch of superhero games, I'm just not a big fan of comics for some reason. I did read a lot of Sonic comics growing up, about up to issue 50 or so, which is about 4 years worth of comic collecting there, but kind of grew out of it. I only remember reading a few superhero comics, notably Superman and War Machine. Or not Superman, excuse me, Spider-Man, who is kind of Marvel's Superman in a way. I'm not going to talk about Sentry. The less we talk about that guy, the better. But anyway, Spider-Man, I remember reading War Machine, and Venom as well, I think. And some Spawn comics, like, it's kind of a mix of different things. I remember the first comic I ever read, though, was Deathlock. And boy, that was a pretty gory comic. I remember being so spooked as a kid by that. But as a result of that memory, I actually really like the character, having looked him up more. He's kind of like Spawn a little bit, but not. He's just a very odd character. Satanga's mentioning that the Batman Returns game on the SNES also allows you to throw mooks into the background, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I agree with you, Satanga. They're really hard to follow. Because there's so many events, there's so many characters, there's so much to keep track of. Alright, I might get lucky and get a health pack here. Ah, come on. You can only hold enemies so long in this game. I don't like when beat-em-ups do that, but I think they all do that, actually, so... But I feel like Superman should be able to hold him as long as he pleases. I accidentally threw that downed craft in the wrong way. I think these little guys are actually the few enemies you can just kind of wail on normally. Oh, hey, health right there. I better not pick that up, though. Oh, and here we have some debris falling from the ceiling. I will say this game has some decent variety in terms of level design and events and stuff that happen in the game. And the fact that you can fly is really nice, and they, sometimes will put secrets in places, It reminds me a lot of Maximum Carnage, the Spider-Man beat-em-up that was pretty huge at the time. That was another very big comic event, and so naturally they had to, sort of capitalize on that. But I actually think Maximum Carnage is the better game, just because it's more interesting. You can also play as Venom, which is always a good time. But yeah, that one had a similar mechanic to this, where you could climb on walls, and they would often have secrets and other niceties. I don't know if any of these guys I'm fighting were actually in the comic. I know the comic begins with an event happening in this sort of underworld area below Metropolis. And I know it's filled with kind of mutant-looking guys, but otherwise I don't know a lot about, what was going on. I say as I describe some things. Bob, I would love to play that, but I never rented it. And in fact, I've never played it, but, I might do that at some point. I might just pick a stream and just pick some weird random games I've never, ever played before. But Prime is an interesting one to me because it's, like, based on a property, a Malibu Comics property, which, man, the whole 90s comic era is so weird. Also, nice touch that I can throw the guys into the background there where they should go flying. Unlike our good pal and friend 64th Street, I can't throw them off the screen there, but I'll gladly slam them into the invisible wall there. Man, I'm just going to game over really fast here. And that's kind of the issue with this game, really. And yes, I remember that storyline, Satanga. I'm surprised he didn't do it sooner, but, it is what it is. I really feel like Superman shouldn't take so much damage from basic attacks, or his health bar should be longer. Like, yeah, okay, I get it. Superman is not invincible completely. He's weak to magic, and, he does have his limits because he's solar-powered and all that, but I just don't like how they handle him in this game. It's kind of the big issue with a lot of 90s superhero games. They kind of put, like, limits on their powers, and it just doesn't really make sense. They did that with the X-Men games, too. They put a lot of limits on their abilities. Although I think the Capcom game handled that in an interesting way. The, oh god, was it called Mutant Apocalypse? I'm trying to remember the name of that one. Yeah, basically what they did in that game is they handled it like a fighting game. And if you wanted to do the character's special moves... Oh, okay, I'm already dead. A random mook just killed me. I don't know if I have infinite continues either, but we'll keep going. I actually forgot to set my timer too. That's great. So, a little bit extra bonus content there. So start the timer. So yeah, it starts you all the way back here. And yes, I agree with you, Satanga. I like Clone Wars a little bit more too. Now, Capcom would also go on later to make a War of the Gems game, starring, the Avengers, and it's not quite as good as Mutant Apocalypse, which already wasn't, the bestest game in the whole world. I think you're invincible when you do your down punch move. Every Superman has a different one like that. In some cases, they kind of do a knee slam or like toss them up in the air, stuff like that. But yeah, eye lasers, you want to abuse those real good. Alright, some health. Mercifully. So yes, I'm playing the Genesis version of this game because I, you know, only had a Genesis growing up. So this was the version I would have rented. And, it's pretty good. It doesn't look quite as nice as the SNES version, but it still plays, it plays pretty punchy, you know, like a lot of Genesis games do. It doesn't feel quite as slippery as NES games could. But as you might notice, the palette's very limited. And, oh gosh, I've already died again. This bodes really well for tonight's stream. It figures, as soon as this stream would work and not suffer from technical difficulties, I would be just jobbing it up really badly. Yeah, it does. I don't know why you hate this game so much. It's not great, but I guess I understand it a little bit. Let's be real here. It's... Oh, hey. Oh, crap. Well, that hurt. Made a nice zappy sound, though. That was cool. Yeah, it is definitely a mediocre game. Ow. Come on, come here. I want to throw you into the background. I will say this is one of the better superhero games. You could have been playing... You could be playing the... or I could be playing the Incredible Hulk game of this era, which I also rented. That one's not good. It also does that annoying thing I was mentioning where they try to put limits on the superhero's power. In this case, Hulk, they put limits on his abilities based on his health, and it's just not fun. It is absolutely garbage, and it's just no good, and I don't know why they did it that way. But if you can load up a Game Genie and put in the right codes, you can basically have access to the Hulk's entire moveset from the start. And, well, that one's really good. The game suddenly becomes really fantastic. That is a great code. Props to whoever figured that one out. Well, that's assuming I can get further than the Superman chapters. The first two stages have you play as Superman, and then I think he dies in, you know, he fights Doomsday in the second one. But yes, as I mentioned earlier, this is, Batman has his own version of this kind of villain, you know, that kind of, like, broke the hero. And that's notably Bane, who broke Batman's back. And, well, unlike Doomsday, Bane is a really lame villain. And the less said about him, the better. Oh, well, I guess I have that health, whether I wanted it or not. Yes, I believe Cyborg Superman is next, and he's actually pretty good. He actually has a really good basic combo. So you can actually kind of combo with him a little bit. I think another reason why throws are so good in this game is that you're actually invincible while doing it, I'm pretty sure. Yes, Doomsday can actually talk, and his motivation, if you actually read Doomsday's backstory, it's kind of messed up. He was basically this child that was experimented on, and they threw him onto this planet that would basically kill you instantly, and each time he died, he slowly got stronger and stronger. Like, I think they killed him, then brought him back as a clone that was slightly stronger, and then so forth and so on. So he's kind of just really messed up. I kind of agree with Xerxes about Bane. Bane is just kind of Batman, but, like, smarter and stronger, I think is what they were going for. Whereas Doomsday's just a really messed up genetic experiment. He's a genetic freak of nature, or whatever that infamous wrestling line is. I can understand not being a fan of either of them. I just like Doomsday's design a whole lot more. Bane is a bit... I guess I appreciate the roided up luchador kind of thing they're going for, but otherwise, yes, you're right, Satenga. They only are just there because they did that one notable thing. You know, I wonder if anybody else has killed Superman at this point, though, thinking on this subject, or gotten pretty close. I know Darkseid was a very tough foe, but I don't think he ever actually killed Superman. Which is saying something, given just how powerful that guy is. I really don't like these Sonic the Hedgehog guys. You can't shoot them with your laser beams, so you just kind of have to hope you can pick them up. And do that. Throw them into the background. Pick them up. Throw them into the background. Yep, throw them into the background. When in doubt, grab them, throw them into the background. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage, though, as you may have noticed, which is a bummer. But it's very efficient. It is much better than DD Crew. It is absolutely fantastic in comparison. Okay, I'm starting to get my rhythm back a little bit with this one. You can also use throws to get your enemy into a basic combo as well, which is very handy. You know what? I just got another one of those. I'm just gonna use it. Although I probably should have saved it for gun dudes. These gun dudes are annoying because they have hit scans in a beat 'em up. And it's as bad as it sounds. Come on, I know there's an extra life or something over here. I wonder if we're at the boss. I think we might be at the boss now. Let's hope I can beat him. And it's this guy. I don't know who this is, but Closter, which, you know, it's very weird. This guy looks very similar to Doomsday. It's kind of weird that they'd have a guy that looks just like Doomsday before Superman fights Doomsday. Ow. I wonder if that was the point. I wonder if it was supposed to, like, throw you off a little bit. And yes, this guy's immune to laser blast, so I'm just gonna jump punch him. Which is working amazingly well. But yeah, it's one of those guys that probably has hardened skin, and Superman has a hard time really, you know, taking him out because of that. Wow, this guy is... You would think they would give the boss some jump attack immunity, but nope. He's dead for. And with that, I believe we're done with the first stage, at least. Level completed. I know this next stage has lives in the background, so I'll have to keep an eye out for that. You know, I wonder if every superhero has that... has their own Doomsday or Bane or whatever. Doomsday in Metropolis. Ah yes, wrecking balls. Never a good time in a beat 'em up. And yep, here we go. We're fighting these guys. We're going to see a lot more of these guys. And this stage, I don't really like it. Outside of the Doomsday fight, yep, there's the one up. Outside of the Doomsday fight, you're just fighting Chainsaw and Molotov guys. They don't even have as much enemy variety as the previous stage, which had at least 3 dudes. And you only ever fight 2 of them at a time. I do not remember who Morlin is, but the fact that I don't remember them is probably a bad sign. Yep, it's literally the guy from Time Killers who is actually the best characters in Time Killers. He is just that good. Boy, I love throwing guys into the background. More beat-em-ups just need to do that. You know, I wonder if I can actually... Hold on. Need to do something here real quick. Alright, there we go. I wonder if you can actually... No, you cannot grab guys and then fly with them, which is unfortunate. Okay, I lied. You do fight more than 2 of them at a time, but this kind of suffers in the same way a lot of multi-platform beat-em-ups do, notably limited enemy variety, and also you can't fight too many at the same time, which I suspect was a limitation brought on by the SNES hardware more than the Genesis. Because if you've ever played Streets of Rage, they throw a lot of dudes at you in that one. But for some reason, every SNES beat-em-up I have ever played only ever throws like 2 or 3 guys at you at most. And it's always the same, like, 2 enemies as well. Once you notice it, you just can't unnotice it. At least these guys are a little bit easier than, like, the chain gun dudes from the prior stage. You know, I might have been able to save that health, but I don't think so. And yeah, you know, Satenga, you basically just reiterated what I said. He is, in fact, the best character in that game. I do like Mantaz, though. I do like the bug dude. He's pretty cool, but that sort of character was done better in Cosmic Carnage, which is actually not a bad brawler at all if you can somehow manage to get hold of both a 32X and a copy of Cosmic Carnage. That one might be one of the more available ones, but just because it's more available doesn't mean it's not going to set you back like $10 trillion. Oh hey, some hidden health. Again, throwing bad guys into the background. It really pays off. At least Superman is really fast. That is something I like. I think some of the other characters have different speeds. Like, I think Superboy is faster, maybe? Do I have to fight Doomsday already? I don't think so. But yes, that rumbling is being caused by Doomsday. Oh, wait, yep. And I believe he's immune to my laser blast as well. Now, this guy has some has some air attack invulnerability, if I recall. He's also can't be grabbed very easily. Use one of those. Which actually did a decent amount of damage. Oh wait, no, he's weak to the jump punches too. I'm pretty sure at some point he's not, but I don't remember when that is. I think if he can do his uppercut. Yeah, if he can do that uppercut, you're in trouble. Ow. You know what, screw it. I'll probably get another bomb here. I'm just surprised they threw out Doomsday so soon in this stage, but again, it's following the comic storyline pretty closely. You know, I just noticed there's no score in this game, which just makes sense. I mean, Superman really doesn't need to keep score. All of them Star Treks. Oh, hey! You can actually throw them off there. So, yeah, they did actually steal something from 64th Street, or rather, maybe 64th Street stole it from this. I don't think they take any damage if I do that, though. That's pretty lame, game. That is very weak. And also, hey, Dyer. I am indeed playing the Death and Return of Superman, if you did not notice. And not having the best time of it, because this is the 3rd time I've attempted the stream, but it's going better this time, at least. Hey, the Molotov guys can kill other enemies. That's nice. It's nice for me, anyway. Not so much for them. The death and return and death of Superman, you mean? hopefully I didn't actually type that into the title of my stream. Now I have to go and actually look and see if I did that on accident. Nope, Death and Return of Superman. He sure does die easily in this game, though. I don't know why they kept doing that. They still sometimes do that with superhero games. Hey, an extra life. Sweet. Pays to fly around in this game. Yes, I figured that's what you were getting at, there. I think they should have just given him one really long health bar or something, or have him heal rather than treat it like a traditional beat 'em up, but this was the 16-bit era, and sometimes they didn't always have the, best ideas to balance certain things, or they wanted to go with a more traditional setup. Because, it was trying to mirror arcade games in a lot of ways. I figured out how to play this game again. Now, I was really sucking at the start of this, but I've actually slowly remembered the trick with this. Once you do that, you can kind of just breeze through a lot of the game. But yes, the trick is to throw everybody. And also use your laser eyes to stun them if you can. I will say this is at least better than the other Sunsoft Superman game, which I would rather not speak about, or speak of. And I also did not rent that one, so I have nothing really to say about it. Oh wait, I've been forgetting to throw guys into the background. Probably because they don't take any damage if you do that over the side of a building somehow. So I probably missed some health, a 1-up, like the meaning of life, by not smashing the background. Ow. I'm not even sure why there are punks running around in this. I'm pretty sure after Superman dealt with the underground dwellers, or whatever they're called, he pretty much went on to fight Doomsday directly. But again, it's a video game, so... Yeah, this time he has throw immunity, so I might have to do this fairly. But if I time it just right, I can hit him right as he's getting up. Might as well use one of these two, because, spoiler, Superman dies. Ow. I can't grab him either. If I try to do that, he just punches me. Yes, you have to use Superman's amazing abilities to his advantage. Notably, you have to fly and punch guys really good, but not play it like a traditional beat 'em up. Level complete. You died. Wow. Now I forget, Superman comes back with a mullet at the end of the storyline, doesn't he? Like, he starts off looking like his more traditional self, and then mullet town. That's how you know he's, serious business. Huh, W Lex Update. I wonder if that's a channel run by Lex Luthor. Cyborg Superman, who is clearly not evil in any way, shape, or form. I don't actually know a whole lot about the Eradicator. Yeah, you've got Superboy. And Steel. Oh man, I never did see the movie based on Steel. And I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that was back during the era where you know, Bobinator, I don't know. I do know that Superman once punched the universe so hard it shattered everything. And here we have a shmup stage. Actually, there's a few of these. They're not great, but they're playable enough. They're mostly just filler. And I think they last entirely too long, so again, they're filler. Alright, I forgot there's like 15 Superboys. Kind of like how there's like 15 Spider-Girls. And they all have different backstories and motives and... I think I was going off on a tangent about Shaq starring in movies before this, because yeah, he was indeed Steel in the movie. You know, while I'm playing a game about superheroes, I might as well go on another tangent here. Besides video games, I actually collect action figures, both newer and vintage, and recently I've been getting back into the Marvel Legends line, which is actually pretty good. You do unfortunately have to pay both the Marvel and Hasbro tax, so they're a little bit expensive for what you get, but still pretty solid. But I bring this up in any case because... Okay, I bring it up because I've actually looked at vintage 90s toy lines recently just to see what their prices are like, see if anybody actually cares about them, anything like that. And interestingly, you can get a lot of toy lines very, very cheap if you really care about that sort of thing. They're not necessarily good, but you can get them cheap. Oh yeah, he shoots dudes when he with his down throw. You know, Bob, I did used to read Sonic comics. Those are actually some of the only comics I read regularly, and I read up to issue 50, which is actually apparently where a lot of the biggest problems began. I think they killed him, Satanga, and for good reason. Interestingly, each of the Supermans has slightly different stats and slightly different moves. Here, our good pal, Cyborg Superman, I'm pretty sure has slightly faster attacks and a better combo than regular Superman. I really hate the jetpack guys, by the by. Keep forgetting to throw guys in the background. And yes, as Bob noted, they deleted him from the continuity, but that's actually more due to rights issues because Archie owns the rights to those characters. I don't know who owns the rights to Princess Sally, but I'm not a huge fan of her character, so I don't care if she's not in the comics anymore. But yeah, shit pack, that's one way of putting it, Satanga. They're not even that hard, they're just kind of annoying. You have to deal with them by flying. Oh wait, I remember how to deal with these guys. Yeah, I keep forgetting. When in doubt, shoot them with your laser beam, which does no damage otherwise. And here we have another flying guy. But just charge up my laser. Yeah, that's always a fun time, Dyer. Whenever you can get carded figures from the 90s for real cheap. I actually got an Aliens figure recently, the android Bishop on card. The card wasn't in good shape, but I always open my figures anyway. I just like appreciating the package before I tear into it. Actually a pretty fun figure too, because he can be torn in half just like he was in Aliens, the movie. Ow. I'm going to game over here, and that's okay, because I'm pretty sure I get infinite continues for this one, fortunately. Oh, wait. Wait, what was that? I got a 1-up. Okay, so I get to go a little bit longer. Yeah, you don't want those guys to get above you, because then you just can't kill them. But yes, I collect figures as well on the side. Mostly Marvel Legends, McFarlane stuff, and Transformers. And occasionally other oddball lines and some vintage stuff. I haven't really gotten into McFarlane's DC output, but they've recently started making Warhammer 40k figures and Spawn figures again, so naturally I had to get on top of that. Although I might actually get out of, you know, on this subject, I might be off of Transformers for a little bit. They've released, you know, some Beast Wars figures recently. They were okay. I'm not super thrilled by the next line they're putting out, so I may just buy them once in a while rather than feeling a need to fill my collection. I'd actually been off of collecting for a long time until about... I think I stopped collecting for like 5 to 10 years at some point because I just got so tired of it, and the figures weren't very good at the time. Oh yeah, if I had any figures from the 80s still in box, I would absolutely not open them. I've been tempted to collect some 80s figures, but they are very pricey, and given the age, some of them might even be starting to break down on the card. Like I got a carded figure recently from the Creepy Crawlers toy line, if you can believe it, just because it, you know, it was cheap. And the figure actually was starting to break down a little bit, like it was oozing this stuff that smelled like burnt crayons and Vaseline. It's very interesting how plastics actually can biodegrade faster than you'd expect them to. Before I started streaming games again, I was actually considering doing figure reviews, but that is surprisingly hard, and the way you have to handle the setup is like really nutso. I don't know how some people do it on the regular. It's also expensive. Like, I do collect. I probably over-collect sometimes too, but I try to keep it within a budget if I can help it. And there's just guys that are able to review just about every figure in a line, and it's like, you can't really compete against that. And I thought about doing vintage figures, but some of them aren't any cheaper, so it's probably better to stick with video games if you want to do streaming or any kind of entertainment. It's pretty cheap comparative to most forms of entertainment, and easier to keep up with. Not to mention, it's viable to talk about just about anything on that subject. But yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the carded thing, Dyer, because I've had mixed experiences with old figures on cards. As I mentioned, I've had some figures that were starting to decay. Other ones had just, you know, they had factory defects. Like, so it's a game. So it's at this point the game starts to lose me. Yeah, I can understand that. It is getting kind of boring, isn't it? I really don't like fighting the Cadmus guys. They're really boring. Because as you can see, it's literally just this over and over again. That's always a good time, Dyer, when you have an old toy like that that's still in good condition. Even if it's loose and missing everything. I really wish I still had my old Beetlejuice toys. Those go for quite a bit now, and more importantly, those were lots of fun. I think I only had a few of those, but they were a lot of fun. Although, maybe they've gone down in price. Toy prices fluctuate all the time if that's something you want to get into collecting. It's sometimes just good to wait. Or, you know, just pay, you know, just wait it out, you know, maybe keep an eye on eBay or whatever service you use. A lot of people seem to know the value of things, and others just price it obscenely, even if it's not worth that much. What was I saying, though? Oh, yeah, I was getting off on a tangent about how carded figures, like, you never really know what you're going to get with a carded figure. With newer figures, you know, it's easier to replace them if there's something wrong, and they make so many of those that you're not going to run out of those for a long time. Whereas with a vintage figure, if you get one and it had a factory defect at the time, and you get it out of the package, you're going to be in a lot of trouble because it's going to be hard to replace it. But yeah, I don't really have a lot to talk about my actual rental experience with this game. I think I only rented it once. This is as far as I got into the game because it gets kind of difficult. You know, that's kind of how I was with which toy line was it? There was one I got very close to finishing, and I just never got the last few figures in it. And I'm trying to remember. I think that was the Aliens toy line. That's part of why I got the Bishop figure recently, because I just didn't own any of the human figures. I owned most of the alien ones, with maybe a couple exceptions. But that's the only toy line I could think of that I almost nearly completed. That and Beast Wars, and even my Beast Wars collection has holes in it. Not to mention, I don't know where they all are. I believe they're in the garage, but there's a lot of stuff piled up in there, so it'd take a while to get to them, if they're still out there. But yeah, I don't have a lot to say about my rental experiences. This is about as far as I got, because, well, this game is actually ridiculously hard. As you may notice, all the Supermens are made of tissue paper, basically. Yeah, I know. I've been holding out a lot longer, though. Part of it's just because the Cadmus guys, you know, they're not too bad. The ground soldiers are actually worse than the flying guys. Let's see if I can't... Oh, I could have thrown a guy in the background. Probably was like 15 1-ups in that. Oh, more health. This is a lot more generous than the first two stages were. I think they know they were bullcrap. Man, that's not a lot of figures to have needed. I can't imagine how much that line goes for now. I did actually collect Star Wars figures for a little bit when I was younger. Not super often. My interests were always all over the place, because if there's some hot new property, usually I would get a figure or two from that. But the most consistent ones are Transformers and McFarlane and Marvel Legends. That's always been the case, or Marvel figures, rather. Oh, it's insane. Oh, I bet. You think video games are expensive? Oh, boy. That is... it's just... I get a little bit why those are more expensive in some ways. But in other ways, it's kind of fascinating how the price disparity between the two sort of collector fandoms there. You can actually get a lot of video games for shockingly cheap. There's very few that go into like really high triple digits or mid triple digits, whereas with toys, like, man, if you had a new in box, like a G.I. Joe set or something, I bet you that might get up to $1,000 or more, depending on what it is. And I guess that's also because of the kind of people that, you know, buy toys. You know, that's usually parents buying stuff for their children, so they're not going to be in the best condition, especially older stuff. You know, there wasn't really a collector's mentality in the 80s like there was in, like, the mid-90s and on. Like, McFarlane Toys kind of started that whole thing, and you can find a lot of figures in that line for a song and a dance still on card, because the people collecting those were really serious about it. And it's kind of similar to what happens with a lot of video games too. Like, you know, especially for the Sega Genesis, a lot of the collectors were adults, so they were able to, like, you know, maintain the collection a little bit better. And, you know, they had the hard cases and other sort of things, and it's really interesting. I will say, though, on the subject of collecting, this game's very rare and very expensive as far as I can tell, at least the Genesis version. I can't really say much about the SNES version, but SNES games typically go for a lot more than Genesis. A lot more. I think because they had cardboard boxes, and usually they had colored manuals and other niceties. I had a few Swamp Thing figures too. I had one that could extend his arm out. I had one that could change colors, and I had another one that could like collapse into like a heap. That toy line is kind of... Kenner toys are really weird. They either go really cheap or they're more expensive. Now, what did you have that was boxed, Dyer? Was it this game or another one? But, yeah, oh gosh. Man, those Swamp Thing toys. But anyway, yeah, that's a Kenner toy line, and those are kind of all over the place in price. If I recall, the Swamp Thing figures actually go for pretty good prices, especially on card, but there's usually a lot more of those to find, because that was a modestly popular toy line, like anything Kenner. I like how I'm playing this game and I don't have much to say about it, so I'm defaulting to one of my other, color manuals for Genesis were rarity. Yes, they were. And yeah, a lot of the latter games had cardboard boxes, and those are like... I hate the cardboard boxes for the Genesis. They are absolutely awful. Even if you keep them in a nice, safe place, they almost always will just develop shelf wear and look really nasty after a while. I'd almost recommend buying some repro cases and printing out repro labels. Wow, man, if I had known that, I might have taken you up on that, or might have bought it from you, but... the odds are good you probably sold it before I actually had any interest in this. But yes, this is actually kind of soothing and relaxing in a way. You know, it's boring, but... it's at least, you know, kind of like... oh, I just had to shoot these guys, I just had to punch them. I really wish I had figured this sort of tech out as a kid, because I probably would have loved this game a little bit more if I hadn't tried to play it like a traditional beat-em-up. I probably would have liked it a lot more if Blizzard had bothered to include difficulty settings, or, you know, rebalance it so that Superman's more powerful, or... yeah, I figured that was the case. Case. That's a little bit of a punny there, given what we're talking about. So, Satanga, I know this is one of your lesser favorite beat-em-ups, so I'm curious what your thoughts are on all this scintillating flying and shooting action. I really, really hate the Cadmus troops. I absolutely despise these guys so much. And yet I keep playing. Hey, some extra life. Some health there. I didn't know I could break the pipes, actually. It does get better in some cases, but I feel like the game shows off everything it has to, offer in the very first stage, and that's actually kind of one of the best ones in terms of enemy variety. I will say that games that I can get good at, I appreciate even if they're not interesting or great. That's kind of how I am with a lot of games, like Bob on the Sega Genesis. I love that game. It's not great. It's probably one of the better games that's made by the same team that made the incredible Crash Test Dummies and the Wayne's World 16-bit game, but it's otherwise not super interesting, but I still just like it a lot, and that's kind of describes a lot of my tastes as a kid. Yeah, I was shocked to find that there were actually very early games for the Genesis that had cardboard boxes, notably by, Accolade and Ballistic. And usually those are still in pretty good condition. They're reinforced and folded like a board game, so they're typically in better condition, I've noticed. Oh, I can grab the flying guys too. Oh, can I grab them in midair? No, I cannot. Oh yeah, when you knock them into those clone jars, they fall out. That's a nice touch, actually. Ow. Thanks, Cadmus Trooper. Number 5030. Ow. Sadly, Cyborg Superman's throws kind of suck. He can't throw enemies at each other, really. He has strong throws, I will say, though. That is something he does have. They are decently strong. Relatively. But, yeah, not being able to throw guys real good kind of sucks. Star Control was always a game I wanted to rent, but I just couldn't, like, it has that really cool box art, if I recall, but, I just couldn't figure out what kind of game it was, so I just held off. I was kind of like that as a kid. If I couldn't figure out what a game was, or it just didn't look like it would interest me too much, usually I would hold off. Ow. I really should have saved my thingy too. My little orb for the flying guy. But I have 5 lives here, so I should be smooth sailing here. Yep. Cyborg Superman showing off his superior combo ability there. Oh gosh, oh gosh. No! Okay. Oh, and I picked it up. That's great. I love when that happens in games. Oh, hey, they can actually hurt each other. I do appreciate that there's friendly fire in this game. A lot of beat-em-ups don't bother with that, and I appreciate that a lot. But again, the stage is a lot fairer, at least. It's like they know that Cyborg Superman's throws suck, so they give you a little bit of mercy there. I will say this is also probably the most boringest stage in the game. Some of the other ones are a lot better in terms of the way they look and play, because they actually have stage hazards and some other things that keep them interesting. The shmup bit at the start of this is okay. Ah, okay. I've never played any of the Star Control series, despite hearing nothing but, like, praise for the first 2, especially the Urquan Masters. I think I actually own all of them, actually. I think I own them on GOG, and I've never played them. That was Master of Orion, and I've only played the first one in that series, and it's pretty good, actually. I actually quite like, that. You know what? Screw you guys. I don't care if there was, like, 15 health packs hidden in the walls. I'm still just gonna take care of you while I can. Probably a 1-up and, like, the meaning to life, the universe, and everything. Well, thinking on this, I wonder what the 1-up power-up in a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy game would beat 'em up would look like. Would it be like just the number 42, and it gives you like 42 lives or something like that? That'd be great. Just make it non-conventional. The anti-life equation. Yeah, you just casually find that and the game ends, and then it melts your cartridge too, because you know that's that. That's the end of that. I also feel like your super attack should, your screen clearing loop should refresh between stages, but they don't do that, so the only way to refresh them is to like game over, or just find them. I hate when games do that with stuff like that. I think it would be a dancing Marvin, you know. Yes. Question is would the Tau be a melee weapon, or would it just be like one of your basic attacks? You know, on the note of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I have heard nothing but stories about the adventure game. Like, nothing but stories about that. That was health, wasn't it, that I just flew up and picked up, wasn't it? I don't know what it was. Oh, wait. It was actually... Oh, it was a 1-up. Okay. Never you mind. That's actually good. I'll take that. And who was the boss of this stage? Oh. Oh, I remember this boss. It's bullcrap. Spoilers. This is the only attack he has, by the way. Oh, God, this is bad. Well, I blew off one of his arms, at least. Ow. Ow. Looks like I can destroy his orbs, at least. Man, those do a lot of damage. Oh, he's almost dead, though. Ow. This looks like a boss out of, Thunder Force 4, the boss, oh, hey, what do you know it? It's, Darkseid. Or, excuse me, Doomsday. Darkseid's the other, notable, Superman villain. I almost said Batman there, too. I'm just really mixing things up now. You just hurtled his body into deep space, huh? You could have hurtled it into the sun, but... I mean, yes. Yes, Lex Luthor does in fact exist. Ah, now we're playing as the Eradicator, who looks more like an X-Men character than Superman. Hey, you know what? You know what's great? We just saw this tile set a few stages back. You know what's really great about this? Getting to see it all over again, and it's not been changed at all. I don't think you ever fight the underground mutants ever again, so that's kind of an odd budgetary move there, not to recycle those guys. But yes, how could I forget Lex Luthor? I like how his backstory and like one of the things was that Superman, excuse me. Oh yeah, I forgot. Eradicator has pretty good throws overall. Hey Stingy, can you take care of that bot for me? I think I gave you mod powers. I still can't believe throwing these guys off the side of a building does no damage to them. At least have it do something. Everybody I have followed or watched on Twitch gets these bots, and I don't know how you prevent them from appearing at all. It's very annoying. No, hey, one up. Ah, I missed the motorcycle. Actually, I might be able to handle this here. I realize I have access to the chat. Messages 1. How do I block? Ban. There we go. I might need to actually up my, and now I can't close out of this for some reason. There we go. I might need to actually up my security, since I believe that's why they tell you to, like, make sure that people have registered phone numbers and whatnot. I'll wait a little bit to do that, though, because, I believe, Dyer has not been following the stream long enough. It's like, if they don't have a phone number, they must be following the stream for 5 years, and it's like, why? Oh, hey. Oh, hey, is that... Oh, that was a smaller health pickup. I was hoping that was full life, but no. No, the game can't be too generous to me. That would just be, that'd just be... plumb stupid. I like how I have been playing this for almost an hour, and I'm not even halfway through this game, if I recall. There are a lot of stages. I haven't even played as Steel or Superboy yet. Oh, yeah, I like how they're not having him drop the motorcycle now. And I say all these negative things about this game, despite, you know, again, kind of liking it. There aren't a whole lot of good Superman games, and I hate to say it, but this is probably one of the better ones that you can play. Plus, it's fun just to fly around. Plus, it uses those guys use the Doom chainsaw sound. Very nice. Yeah, you know what? Sunman is okay. Especially if you get the hacks that turn it into Superman proper. It's not great, though. It's kind of too short, I feel like. Yeah, his throws are actually really good. I think that's one reason why I remember liking Eradicator a lot. His super move's no nonsense either, his screen clear move. Ah, so now we do have a slightly different tile set, which is nice, but we're still fighting the same Molotov and Chainsaw guys. They really should have actually added one other guy. Maybe a knife dude. Maybe he has knives. I don't know, just anything more, you know, like something else. I guess there's the motorcycle guys, but the first stage had at least 3 distinct enemies, possibly 4? It's my only real major complaint with this game is enemy variety is really lacking. That's another reason why Maximum Carnage is a much better game than this, besides the fact that, you know, it's based off a... Well, I don't know if it's based off a slightly more interesting or better comic event. I know it was popular. I'm sure there are people who don't really like, Maximum Carnage either. But, the game at least is pretty interesting. It's got a lot of style and flair to it that this doesn't. It actually looks like a comic book, which I like. I have not played that one, Dyer, so I can't speak for its efficacy, unfortunately. Ow. Yeah, they just don't want to give me those things anymore. They don't want to give me, the really good motorcycles to throw at dudes. Yeah, the stages have actually gotten easier, oddly enough, past the first one. Oh hey, 1 up. It pays to throw guys into the background. All 2 of them. And they only have 1 color palette? I mean, come on, guys. Streets of Rage had like 15 trillion different enemy types, and they all had different palettes, and... I get that this was a multi-platform release, but even so... Probably we're also working with a time limit on it as well, or and budgetary constraints. Like, you know, like, licensed games are always really interesting when you look at, like, post-mortems on them. I will say yes, the combat isn't much better or the health, the strength level of the characters is not much better. And yeah, I like those Girl Scout enemies, those are funny. But yeah, for some reason they didn't do a good job keeping those characters strong either. Again, big issue with this era of superhero game. They always make the heroes too weak. Which is another reason why Clone Wars on the Genesis might still be one of the best superhero games. That and Mutant Apocalypse on the SNES. Those are both really good games. That, you know, thinking on that too, that's another thing about Maximum Carnage that I don't like. The difficulty is absolutely heinous in that. It is really obscene. Limited continues, enemies do way too much damage. Oh hey, it's Steel, who I will eventually be playing as. Let's see if he has any counters to my amazing jump kicks. Ow. Yes, I did... Yeah, the swinging controls in that game are indeed kind of strange. Ow. Ow. He has quite the reach on him, this Man of Steel. But yeah, the controls in Maximum Carnage are kind of weird. There are a whole lot of moves you can do. It's kind of insane, actually, just how much move variety is hidden in that game. I think Steel might be the best Superman in this game because he's got insane reach on his attack. Another reason why I like Maximum Carnage more, thinking on this even more, there's like all these weird branching paths in the game. Lots of levels. It's just a very odd game. It's got a lot of characters too and bosses. A lot of crossovers there. It's pretty cool. Oh, hey, a giant vessel has destroyed this town. Ambush at Coast City. Am I actually going to play as a Eradicator in this one? Or am I playing as... Yep. I think you eventually come back to this area as Superboy as well. I don't think they throw any other kind of enemy at you in these sections, so they're kind of just like a brief respite. Let me check something here real quick. How much time do I have? Oh, I have 3 minutes. Wow, it feels like it's been a lot longer than an hour. Which, technically speaking, it has. I did start my timer late. You know, Bob, I wish I knew. Again, my knowledge of the comics is pretty limited, and it's mostly limited to Marvel. On that note, everything I have read about X-Men comics makes them sound like the absolute most craziest comics in terms of timeline and just everything that goes on. It's really hard to keep track of that stuff. I honestly wish I knew a little bit more about DC. I know a little bit about Batman and Superman, but otherwise I don't know a lot else about them. I've also been meaning to read Sandman, which I don't know if that takes place in the broader DC universe or it's its own sort of self-contained thing, but I've heard nothing but good things about that. Oh hey, a new kind of enemy type, a cyborg. Or Warbot as is it known. But I can't immediately deal with him because I have to defeat this stupid flying Cadmus guy. Okay, so these are apparently not... These are apparently a completely different group of bad guys, Warworlders as they're known. Is that where Darkseid is from, or is that another planet entirely? Oh hey, and mines can actually hurt enemies too. That's actually a nice touch. The only comic series I can remember reading in full was Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, which is absolutely fantastic, especially if you like the same sense of you have the same sense of humor, or you like Invader Zim and have that sort of sense of humor. Huh, I didn't realize there were really good Star Trek comics. I know that Star Trek crossed over with X-Men at some point, which is kind of funny when you consider who played Professor X in the movies. So these are just the Cadmus troops, but they're purple. I mean, credit where credit is due. They did give them a nice color palette, but you could have at least done a little bit more there, guys. At least there's more enemy variety here. There's at least 4 types of enemies. So I'll give credit where credit is due. You guys are doing a little bit better here. There's stage hazards, stuff like this. That mixes it up. There was a shmup sequence. I think both Eradicator and Superboy have the best segments in this game, if I recall. I don't remember much about Steel's bit, and I think you only play as him once, I believe? Oh man, I am low on health. Oh, and I've been forgetting to throw guys in the background. Oh, that's no good. Okay, no, good. There aren't anymore. Probably missed like 18 extra lives. I keep making that joke, but it's true. You do miss a lot. And time is up, so what I'm going to do here is actually see if I can't beat this stage or game over, whichever comes first. And then, you know, just kind of shut the stream down. Oh, hey. Heck yeah, I'll take some super attack. I like how that guy in that little weird little flying thing did not hit me at all, ever. Ah, okay. So what's the difference between Apocalypse and Warworld, and do they have sort of like... Do they have any relationship to each other? Like, do they have like a rivalry of some sort? I'm genuinely curious about this now because I figured, you know, with a name like World, that'd be kind of Darkseid's shtick. And yes, the DCAU did give us the Fantastic Justice League, which, yeah, I had never heard of Hal or John Stewart before that point. Like I said, there's a lot about DC I just don't know about because it just is. I like Superman, I like Batman, still to a limited degree, and I'm trying to think. There was at least one other DC Comics character I actually kind of liked, but otherwise they just didn't appeal to me. I feel like Marvel has the more interesting designs, if not quite as iconic as DC stuff, but I will say their storytelling is maybe, I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag with both. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, wait. That's great. He just ran into the bomb. Here, have whatever the super tech is. I make the screen go dark. Ow. And I can't grab him because they didn't... You know what? You probably can't grab him not for balancing reasons, but just because they, Oh, God, his superior combo abilities. Ooh, this is bad. So yeah, either I beat the stage or I game over, and then that's that. I may come back to this one, I may not. Is there anything up in the sky to help me with this guy? No. Ow. He actually has the ability to counter my jump attacks. I figured they would do that eventually, but... Oh, he gets up so fast too. Oh, okay, so yeah. End game. Game over, and there's that wonderful Sunsoft logo. So, I actually think I'll shut the game off because if I noticed this consistently. Okay, so the first time I tried this stream, I let it run through the demo for that game, right? Both times it seemed to crap its pants. Oh, interesting. So, Coast City is Hal Jordan's home city. Okay. Hold on a second. I just realized this whole time my computer's fan has been rattling, making an awful sound. It did this a couple nights ago, but anyway, that's not relevant to the stream. Yeah, what was I going to say on this? I had a theme or an idea. Yeah, so that's Death and Return of Superman. It's not great, but it's not bad. I actually do find it enjoyable despite its flaws. Difficulty balance isn't the best, and really, I don't know why they made all the Superman men of tissue rather than men of steel. But such as it is, it's one of the better superhero games of the era. Not maybe not the best, but it's pretty playable, pretty fun. It's a solid beat 'em up, if not fantastic. You'd probably do better to play Maximum Carnage if you want a superhero beat 'em up. Separation Anxiety is also not too bad. It's not quite as good as Maximum Carnage, but yeah, I think that'll be it for tonight. Thanks for joining me, and well, I hope you guys have a good rest of the week, assuming I don't stream again. So take it easy.